Hello everyone, my name is Win Perini from SaaS Tribe, and today we have joining us Joe Marisic and Derek Perkins from Nozzle, and we're going to be talking about search engine optimization. If you're not already part of our community, please join. We talk about SaaS tools, SaaS lifetime deals, and how to use those tools to grow our businesses. So first, let's hear from Joe. Joe?
Hey everybody, you guys mostly all know me for the memes and the silliness. And tonight I'm excited to talk to Derek about a nice SEO tool, and it's more than a rank tracking tool in my opinion. So I won't waste any more time because I'll probably talk a lot later. Let Derek take over.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm pumped to be on here. I just, kind of a quick background of Nozzle. So we started, prior to starting Nozzle in 2014, I was the VP of tech at SEO.com, obviously an SEO agency. And, all the big rank tracking vendors, Conductor, Bright Edge, they all came and pitched us these giant price tags, but it never felt like they quite did what we wanted. They didn't give us all the data we needed. And, it felt like they, took how many competitors, how many keywords, they took it back into their Excel spreadsheet and said, how much do we think they'll pay, right? And that's how charging worked. Nothing was transparent. And so we started Nozzle to say, how can we give access to all of this amazing data? And so we've been doing that for 7 years.
This Neelish, the sound effects. Gotta love it.
So yeah, we've been primarily an enterprise tool to date, working with large enterprise Fortune 500 company teams of data analysts at their beck and call. Our data is natively available in BigQuery. That's one of our big unique selling points.
Wow.
And you have access to all of it. You don't, right? There's no extra costs to export, to query. It's all just right there available for you. And so we, worked with these big enterprises to they built out a lot of custom dashboards, custom queries for what they did. And this Appsumo launch is us saying, right, why should this awesome data, be only available to these big companies?
Quick question for you, Derek. Okay, well, I know we're going to get into this, into the weeds with some of the stuff, but I'm really curious how some of these big companies are using BigQuery on these queries. How are they doing that? Why are they doing it? I mean, I know BigQuery because we're using it to collect conversion tracking and analytics, and we're using that to help businesses to steer their marketing. But I'm really curious how you're using that with competitive research data and the data that you guys specifically do. I mean, that's amazing. How does that work?
Sure. Yeah, there's a couple of points. So one, we're still in the process of building out dashboards for all of the data. What we're going to look at tonight, maybe we're going to touch on 1 to 2% of the data that's available. But so with BigQuery, you can really drill down into specific reports that you want. Second, like you just mentioned, a lot of companies have their big analytics in BigQuery. And at the same time, these big companies, they're pretty reticent to hand over the keys and let you see their analytics data or potentially their internal revenue per page metrics. And because BigQuery is shared, we can grant all our users access to our data, but they don't have to grant us access necessarily to their analytics data. So you can join and query across all those data sets securely and without having to open up that data to anyone else. So that's a pretty cool feature. And then BigQuery just integrates with every BI tool on the planet. Power BI, Domo, obviously Data Studio, Looker, they're all, we've got users hooking in from any BI tool you can name. And
Right.
BigQuery just makes that so easy to integrate.
Absolutely. For anyone here who's listening, if you're not using BigQuery, you've got access to it now with your Google Analytics 4 comes natively with that, so you can just flip the switch on there. I'm still curious. I mean, how can you make money with that? So you got access to this competitive data. Give me one obvious example of how you can make money with querying your competitive data in BigQuery.
Okay, so here's an example from one of our big customers. They had a certain specific search term, DirecTV, that if they're, if something happened, if a top stories pack came on, they owned kind of the whole bottom of the Serp. And so what they would do is they set up hourly rank tracking, and then they would query that to see if a top stories pack appeared, and they would see their call center volume drop by 30% when that top stories appeared. So it was a near live monitoring, and then they could reallocate that call center staff in order to better utilize based on expected call volume.
Wow. Wow. Jeez. That's full on.
And with Nozzle, is it correct that you're charged basically per keyword one time if it's the same keyword with the projects, with the competitors? So if you're checking against 100 competitors, you're not going to get charged each time you hit that keyword for a credit, or?
Exactly. It's real simple. We only charge you once for every unique SERP that we pull for you. And then you can query it, you can do reporting, whatever you want to your heart's content, no extra charges.
What about across other teams, like other projects? Will it know automatically that I have real estate agent Long Island in 2 separate projects? Will it only charge me once, or no, that it will charge twice?
So what do you think?
I'm hoping it doesn't, but I'm sure it would.
Nope. We're here for the user. We're only charging you once. So if it's the same keyword, doesn't matter how many projects it belongs to, you're only getting charged once.
It just knows across the board that there's no other button you have to hit or put in a special group.
No, nothing magic, nothing. Again, as long as it's the same keyword pulled at the same time, if everything's on a daily schedule or weekly, it'll dedupe for you automatically.
That's amazing. That's amazing, especially in a credit. I've been more of everyone in the groups knows I'm more of a keyword limit kind of guy with the SE ranking system and those. So credits, I was always like, but this credit system works better than a usual keyword system.
Yeah, that's one of my issues, and it's why we have custom scheduling. Is not every keyword is created equal, and so all these keyword-based systems, right? You're either not getting data often enough for your most important keywords, or you're not putting enough keywords in because it's too expensive. So we see a lot of customers that, their top 10% of keywords go daily. Then there's a 20 to 30% tier that are weekly, and then the rest pull monthly. Yeah. Like there's typically not, like for mobile devices, let's say, we can let you track Android versus iPhone, but they're pretty much, we've done, in our research, other than different app packs showing up for the 2 different stores, they're pretty much the same. So don't waste your time, tracking both of them daily, but you can maybe pull one of them monthly just as a gut check to make sure that, nothing has changed without you knowing about it.
And then we have crazy clients that want, I think I spoke to you about before, Derek, they want like on demand. Can you give us the number right now that where we're ranking for this keyword? And I think you said there's a way to toggle to do it, but if you might have a button feature in the future to refresh it, a keyword?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, so Sajwal Pajani is asking, what's the main goal with this Ltd launch? I mean, you've been in business for 7 years. You've already got MRR. You've got some corporate clients that are, generating some good income for you. What's your main goal that you're hoping to achieve here?
So for us, this was the launch of our self-service platform. Before this, it was very white glove onboarding, very hands-on, heavy sales, kind of the standard enterprise gig. But like I said, the system scales down. We only charge on usage, no matter if you're a giant company or just getting started and tracking a handful of keywords. And so we're still we're aware that the system isn't as easy to use as we'd like it to be. We're trying to ride that balance between, how can we showcase all this cool data while at the same time making it simple and easy to use. And so there's definitely room to grow in terms of the built-in dashboards, the intuitiveness of the interface. We think it's pretty awesome as is, but like I said, still plenty of room.
I love the UI, but in a lot of the groups, there are people that they don't get it, and there's some confusion on certain terms. I think, Derek, I already spoke to you about this, but we can discuss whenever you'd like. That would probably help users. I think the tool, from as an SEO myself, digital marketer, I love it. I love how you have everything worded. I love the UI. It gives you so much information, so much data. And I think that's what overwhelms these LTD users. They're looking for a rank tracker that just gives you a list and everything's like, that's it. But once they get the hang of the UI, and I think maybe if you like little things like change teams to projects, that would probably clear up so much of the confusion that these users. I understand the point of doing it because you're doing it from an agency point of view. Teams, it's a wider scope. It could put a lot more stuff in it. But I had one guy contact me today and say, I don't even know how to add another domain name. Where do you do it? Or where do I put my keywords? I'm like, oh, phrases is keywords. And they're like, but why doesn't it just say keywords? They're used to what they've seen before from Appsumo and other places, so it's little things like that, you could do like this and explain it better, or but I, like I said to you, don't change your vision of what you're looking to do with this, because I really enjoy it. I like it. I love the dark mode on the UI. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, we're going to be rolling out an update on that projects and teams tonight. And yeah, we'll keep taking, all these different use cases in. Depending on when you onboarded, I think every day this week we've added a step to make it simpler. So we're definitely listening to the feedback we're getting from, all these new customers. Because, it's easy to get lost in your own platform and, forget what it looks like to a brand new user. And especially where we're kind of turning the rank tracker on its head and saying, we're monitoring the entire SERP. This is data mining. This is, an enormous amount of data, not just a single table with a single domain saying where you rank for one keyword.
Well, you're thinking like an SEO.
Sorry, Joe.
Sorry. You're thinking like an SEO. It works perfectly from our point of view, but I guess these people that have a smaller business or are starting as a freelancer and they're used to a Serp watch or something that's just a pure rank tracker, not something like this, a data miner. They're a little overwhelmed, so we have to start thinking like the user and say, okay, let's make it easier for them, but don't take away all the cool stuff you have, because I don't want you to dumb it down too much.
Yep, that's kind of our view, is we want to have a simple mode that's simple for onboarding that you can then, just toggle over into, advanced user mode, or click into those dashboards that really let you drill in.
Rouhani is saying he thinks it's a nice, snappy user interface. He's asking if it's a Next.js platform. I guess that's a type of React.js, is it, for those coding nerds out there?
That's correct.
Cool. Rouhani's on the board, all the stuff. You can't get anything past him.
Yeah. My co-founder is Tanner Lindsley. He's one of the top contributors to the React community.
Really?
We've had a couple of people come in from different podcasts and things he's been on for React Table, React Query, React Charts. I think he by himself has generated over 100,000 stars on GitHub. So we've got a lot of tech talent, and
crazy.
looking to channel it into an interface that serves everybody's purposes.
Quick question. I'm looking at your plans here on Appsumo. I know we're going to get into that in a second, but you've got 5,000 keywords on the base plan, and you're talking about keyword pools. So let's say that I had 10 keywords that I'm tracking, and
Yep.
I do, and I pull those keywords 10 times a day, 30 days a week. What's that? That's 300 times 30. That's about 900 keyword pools. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And if you do it on different channels, and each channel counts as a keyword pool as well?
By channel, do you mean like device?
Yeah, so you got YouTube, rank tracker, Twitter handle. You got.
I'll clarify that. We don't track YouTube or Twitter on their search engine. What we do allow is when you set up a brand is much more than a domain. And so we let you import your YouTube videos, your Twitter profile, and we'll tell you when those rank on Google.
I see.
Because YouTube is very difficult to track because there's no handy prefix that you can filter on. So we have an import feature in the setup that will go pull in the exact URLs and names of all your videos and let you see when they show up in video carousels or elsewhere.
I see.
And it's great because you could organize them into the keyword groups and just track those groups for the daily ones that you need that are more high priority, and then put other keywords that you want to track weekly or monthly into other keyword groups. So you have all these folders that you can select which ones you want to go with. The organizations, it's just great.
So what's the use of that, Joe? What the value is of that? How did you find that? What does that mean to the layman like me?
For the usage, the keyword usage, like using of the polls, if I have that real estate client and he's really focusing on a certain area of New York, I would put all that for that city, Old Westbury, all the terms that go with that geo into an Old Westbury folder. And then I would just do those daily checks. And then the ones that other towns he doesn't care about as much, I would put those in other folders, other groups, and I'd have those going weekly or monthly. And then if he ever calls me, I would just do an on demand for one keyword,
Gotcha.
which it's pretty cool. That's why I think the whole thing might be overwhelming. But once even the newbies in the SEO world get into it, they'll say, wow, I could do more with this than the other deals that came earlier this year.
Damn it, I should have sold my SE ranking.
Yeah. SE ranking is another. Well, that's why I want to talk to even Derek about. That was an LTD I got day one, and I loved it, but I had to go with an add-on to really use it every day to get those daily pulls. So I could see Nozzle kind of going the same path as an SE ranking, depending how you scale it. Even better, because you might eventually. I don't know if you want to add other things to it, like the audit part and all that down the road, but that would make you a complete player in the whole, trifecta of the Ahrefs, SEMrush, and SE ranking. But I think what you're doing, focusing on one thing, you're doing it well, is perfect. Oh, my time is up.
What's Neelish telling us? Hold on. Let's do some questions. We've got a few more questions here. I don't know what Neelish is doing. I think he just likes tooting that horn from time to time.
You might hear my daughter. She's playing with a loud toy right behind me as well. So we have Neelish and we have my toy with a dollhouse over here.
What time is it for you, Joe?
It's 11:26 p.m. in New York. And my 2-year-old is on my schedule. She's a creative.
That's cool. I'm not getting the name here, but Facebook user, you got to, there's a link that Neelish is going to post in the comments there for you to click, but it's going to add you, give you permission so that we can see your name, basically. Is the only difference between the plans you offer in Appsumo, basic and advanced? Number of polls, I can't see any differences on your pricing page. I'm not sure what that means. Does it mean anything to you, Derek?
Yeah, that's a common question we've gotten. So we don't have any feature limitations, no matter how high up the plan you go. Again, we want you to get the data, see the data, love the data, and not feel forced to upgrade or, pay for a bunch of stuff that you don't care about to get the one thing you do. So the only difference as you move up the plans is the amount extra you would pay for additional polls goes down as you commit to more.
Okay.
So, and we have no intention to change that or to add any future limitations to either the LTD plan or our ongoing plans.
One question, sorry, Win, that I have about the plans. The adding on to like to the users, say we scale and polls per month, will there be, I know there's pricing for the monthly or the credits to be used. Will there be any kind of discounting? Some of the previous SEO tools have done discounting for LTD early users to have the credits discounted.
So right now we haven't made any plans to do that. What we are committing to is a lot of other tools. If you do need to upgrade, they force you to do a full upgrade and you lose all the value of your LTD. We're not ever going to do that to you. So if you do upgrade to another plan, you'll always get your 5, 10, or 21,000 polls for you.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. Figured I'd ask because people in the community always want to know what else we get. What else we get? We want unlimited everything. Right. I said, take it easy.
And to the questions about, we've had a lot about tier 4 and tier 5. Actually, just that popped up on the screen just now. Right. There's a lot of other companies. I feel like it's a quick cash grab. It's really easy to say, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And then they realize, 6 to 12 months down the road that it's not sustainable. And that's when they start slashing features. They cut plans. Yep. And right, we're committed. We know that, users that are buying us today, you're somewhat taking a gamble on a platform that's still growing. We're still building out our dashboards. And, we don't want to leave you in the dust and say, hey, thanks for, helping spread the word and give us feedback and, partner with us on making it better. Sorry, see you later. So we know that we can commit to these 3 tiers that we've offered and never cut features and let them actually be a lifetime forever deal. And we don't want to introduce any higher tiers where we would feel like, we might not be able to do that, or we'd have to, cut back on our original promise. We're a very transparent company. I'm a transparent person. And, we don't want to take your money and then take it away from you.
No, so that's great. It's great. I highly recommend that to a lot of the founders out there. They overreach, overpromise, and then they get in a lot of trouble. And these, you'll learn the Facebook community, LTD community gets a little wild, and they become detectives, and they'll find everything you said on video, every email, everything. It's out there. It's
horrible. It's horrible.
It's better if your plan is better.
It's horrible, right? It's like, oh my God, you're caught in that position. It's a no-win situation. You're overcommitted.
The drama, yeah.
Gee,
right. And it's terrible, right? I've been an Appsumo user for 5 or 6 years. I've bought, 100 deals, and I've had my share of companies cut back or the company goes under because it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tool, Derek? What's your favorite Appsumo tool? Most used, I should say. Most valuable.
My favorite Appsumo tool?
Yeah, your most used.
So we bought probably 5 years ago. It's I'm spacing the name because I don't run it myself anymore. It was a cash flow forecasting tool. Anyway, that thing is really taken off, and I think our plan is $250 a month right now, and they haven't cut it. They've done a great job. So I wish I could, think of it offhand. I'll post a comment afterwards.
Elston Anthony is asking, have you considered tracking keyword volatility specifically, referring to when Google bounces results up and down or in and out of Serp for testing?
Yes, we have. We actually have a field in our database for it. We're still working on the algorithm for that to make sure that it's something we stand behind. But yes, that's very high on our list. Talking about the future, one thing that I'd love to do with that, tied to that volatility tracking, is let you put your rank tracking on autopilot. So there's a lot of keywords that don't see a lot of change day to day, and then there's other ones that are super volatile. So basically, the hope is you say, hey, here's 3,000 pulls a month, and I want you to do as much with it as you can. And we'll crawl out through people also ask. We'll pull in new Search Console keywords as they appear. And, based on the volatility of keywords, we'll, reduce the frequency of pulls for very stable keywords, but then increase for keywords that are very volatile. And so that way it's not, okay, there's one time a year where I'm doing my keyword research and setting up my keywords, and then it's static, even though things change. So that's a really cool project that I'd love to get launched.
Question for you, like how do you get the most value out of a tool like this? Forgive me for being like a little bit naive. I've got SE ranking and other ranking tools.
Sure.
I've set them up, but I don't actually do anything with data. I say, oh yeah, there you go, position 1, position 2, position 5. Oh yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
How do you get the most value out of a tool like this?
So I definitely understand where you're coming from. I buy a lot of tools and I go activate them so that they don't expire, and then I haven't logged it back into 70% of them. So for Nozzle specifically, we don't have a keyword index, so it is keyword driven based on keywords that you add. So we do plan on adding a keyword index in the next 12 months. But for now, it's directly on keywords that you choose. And so obviously getting those input correctly, grouped, there is a little bit of a learning curve. We've got our help.nozzle.io that has some walkthroughs, but honestly, like, you kind of have to commit probably 30 to 60 minutes up front to get a feel for all the different ways that you can slice and dice your data. It's not going to be a tool that you're going to get a drive-by value from.
Marcos is saying, awesome founders. Sorry to do this to you again, Facebook user. I'm going to get told off for this. But what if you invested or get acquired? Will you have protections to keep the LTD plans in place? That's the next question. I think that's a perennial question that LTD buyers have.
Sure. We aren't looking to get acquired. So it's hard to say at this point. Like I said before, we are committed to the Appsumo community, and we'll do everything that we can. Again, there's no intention of selling off to someone else. So we will support as long as we can. And if we do end up ever getting acquired, we would definitely fight to keep that. But you're right, I obviously can't promise that on a video right now when there's nothing on the horizon. We will definitely fight to let you keep your LTD.
Awesome. Good answer. Just let me know when you got questions, Joe. Just jump in when you're ready.
I did see a pop up about. I saw a question pop up about a potential WordPress integration for. We've actually had a couple of thoughts about making like a specific kind of product around that, especially if you're a news heavy site, right? You probably have 48 hours where a specific topic matters. And so we've done some preliminary architecture around what would it look like if you had an integration that here's my keywords for this page, pull them hourly for the 48 hours after I hit publish, and then slowly back off, and then do daily for a week, back it off to monthly, and then maybe get rid of it. And that way you could have very up to date. You know exactly when your article showed up in top stories or anywhere else.
Will there be a client portal added?
So we don't anticipate it being a separate client portal. You can already add as many users as you want. Again, no extra charge for that. We're not trying to nickel and dime you. Currently, there are no user permissions that let you scope, editor view access or team only, but that is on our roadmap at feedback.nozzle.io. That's where our roadmap lives, and you can vote that up. We're definitely getting to hear that more and more.
Yeah, that would be huge, because then as an agency, we can, give them permissions, but they don't have to see everything, all our clients, unless we make another workspace. But the workspace, we only get one workspace per AppSumo deal, correct? We'd have to purchase another workspace then.
Correct. So team, for the most part, if you are an agency, you have clients, you're going to want to make a team or soon to be a project for each of them. And I can't commit to a timeline at this point, but some point within the next 6 to 12 months, we'll have fully fleshed out user permissions. Alternatively, again, coming from our enterprise background, it's not that difficult to make data studio templates, and that makes it easier to integrate any other data sources that you do have, analytics or otherwise, without having to share that with Nozzle or be beholden to whatever our integration schedule is. And so that's why we've gone 7 years without a client portal. Is we've there's these other tools really targeted at that use case. That doesn't mean we're not going to support it, but there are ways to do it, especially with the BigQuery integration.
So for Ruhani, who's asked this question, you might not have been here, Ruhani, when we asked this question, but what does it integrate with? And Derek was saying that it integrates with BigQuery, with Data Studio, Looker, Tableau, Power BI, Google Analytics. Does it integrate with Google Analytics, Derek?
So the data's in BigQuery, and so you can just directly join into your analytics data in BigQuery.
I'm not sure what GSC means. What does GSC? I feel as though I should know what that means.
Search Analytics.
Sorry, what was it?
Google
GSC
Analytics.
is Google Search Console.
GSC. I think you said GSI. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got the search on the analytics.
Jenny is saying, "Oh wow, Derek Perkins, you sound like a real founder. I might just buy another tier for that."
Oh, I like that little soccer thing. Despite my current weight in my face, I was a soccer player. I went to the World Cup in South Africa in 2010 and had a giant 5-foot cleat that was made by the Disney Imagineers team that make all the costumes for Disneyland. My brother, I actually got into SEO. My little brother and I started a website, Soccer Equipment Reviews, that became soccerreviews.com, and ran that for, 7 or 8 years. And that's really what got me into it. So,
well, I mentioned that to Jason, that you're into soccer. I saw that you had the Soccer Review website. Jason's actually a soccer coach, coaches other coaches, and he's getting into SEO now. So we've been going back and forth about Nozzle last couple of days. He's not sure which tier to get. So I was like, "Oh, you got to come on tonight and talk to Derek."
By the way, Joe here is our Joe and Jenny are our in-house search engine optimization guys that we don't use our brains. We just get them to tell us what to buy. So
no, I'm not. I just like to play with the day job is SEO, but I have more of an addiction lately, I think, for the video tools, as everyone points out.
Another question about the polls. What counts as one poll? We've already done some questioning around that. But if I need, we'll go maybe dig a little bit deeper here into the question. If I need to track a keyword for mobile in US and Canada, how many polls would that be?
So that'd be 2. Anything that's a unique SERP is a different keyword poll.
Okay.
I saw someone mention the single keyword view. I don't know if you want me to share my screen at all, or show you any of the if that would help drive some questions.
Yeah, go through the demo.
Mr. Walkthrough.
So I'll follow their lead, and can you see my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
So we're gonna actually what?
Just to do it for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to start, rather than kind of at the zoomed out view, we're going to go into what everyone knows and loves, the individual SERP. We're looking at the keyword rank tracker Google, and this is the Nozzle team or project. So you can see our performance over time. Right in here is this table showing our parsed data, and this is where most tools, if I type in nozzle.io, you can see that we rank on here twice. But honestly, most tools would leave out the second one, and all you would see is nozzle.io 12. Boom, end of story. So we've got a lot more data here. We'll come down. This is the actual HTML. It's clickable. You can see it, and we've overlaid on top of it what we call nozzle vision. And this is the quickest answer, right? If you're an agency or anyone else, you know the struggle of, well, I Googled it on my computer and it's not what I see. And so this is where you can say, right, this is exactly the HTML that we parsed, and this is exactly the data that we got from it. So you can see we've got a rank on here. Another thing we do is all of these individual FAQ schema, people also ask, all of that is pulled in and available to you as a different result. You can also choose what columns or what data fields you overlay on top of this. We're looking at rank and pixels from top here. I'm going to switch over here and show you. Here's a number of different ways that we have to rank it. So we've got rank. Item rank says inside of this single result, the main one is item rank 0, and then item rank 1, item rank 2, but they're all part of this rank 1 pack. Same thing here for this. It's not just this top item. You can also see that if I can hover over these, every individual site link comes in, is measured, and then is available for you to query and see, what site links are showing up. And that goes all the way down. All the people also ask questions are available. You can do a lot of content planning around that all the way through. Some other cool metrics that we have, I'm going to show our pixel-based metrics. So pixels from top, especially as Google's adding all these new SERP features, it's hard to say what rank 1 is anymore, especially if you're on mobile. It's often 3 or 4 screens down before you see the first organic result. And so that's what this pixels from top lets you understand is,
So when you say pixels, what does pixel mean? When you're saying pixels, what does that mean?
The distance.
So yeah, that's just a pixel is just the individual dots that make it up. So there's 180 little pixels, just like your screen is 1080p. That's how many pixels wide it is. Yeah. And so it's just a measurement how far from the top of the screen.
Yeah, this goes a little further, where the other rank tools will just give you the number in place, like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where you are. And then when I first got onto Nozzle, I said, wow, there's a bunch of 1s, there's some 2s, there's some 3, because it shows you every link that's showing up in Google, the other underneath like a URL like link, and that'll count as another 4 and another 4. So it shows you how much further you have to go to get to number 1. And then with the pixel information, it just tells you how far from the top, which it just goes the extra step, I guess, even more advanced. It has you guys have thought about like everything, when it comes to previewing, oh, I'm on number 4. Like I check an SE ranking, I'm ranking number 4 for something. But then I go on Nozzle and I see that my 4, it still says 4, but it's bumped down because there's like 5 1s and a couple 2s, and it tells me how many pixels from the top I am.
Yep.
So we're in like, and all the ads also, right? The ads will count as the 1s. And
so, yeah, that's a great description, and thanks for that clarification. And then beyond just pixels from top, we're measuring the total pixel coverage, and that's what this above the fold percentage says. So on a standard desktop browser, a standard mobile client, what total area is covered? Because again, you might rank 1 but have just a little, a single small organic, or you might have a giant one of these with, before when they had 4 FAQ questions. So that helps you understand who's really dominating visually on the SERP. And honestly, like I said, rank is a metric that it's going to be hard to get rid of, but it's becoming less and less meaningful in my opinion. And it's time for, something that more realistically represents what Google's showing. And so I'm really excited about above the fold. And then Cert percentage is the same thing, but rather than kind of having this arbitrary cutoff where, these down here all have 0% above the fold, this Cert percentage just says of the entire SERP, how much area is covered by all of your results. And you might even rank multiple times. So an example on this one, if I type in Ahrefs, you can see in this little mini map on the side, this is showing all of the results, and it's highlighting in green here. This is where Ahrefs shows up. They have an image down here, Ahrefs rank. So that's where another place that they show up. And then down here on this little red dot this is their roadmap feedback tool. And so it's real easy to just dial in and see how many times do I show up on a single SERP. And often the number is, in the tens if it's a branded search. And it's tied up to this up here, so that as you filter in this bar, it filters the table as well as the HTML itself. Another pretty awesome feature we have here is you can compare historically. So you just hit that compare history button, and you can throw as many of these up side by side as you want. And we can zoom out so you can compare it. So if you see big changes, you just come right in here, throw them up side by side, whatever dates you want to look at, and you can see exactly where things are moving visually. It's really effective, especially for client reporting.
And you can put all of these into a PDF?
So currently we don't have a PDF export, but you can just screenshot this.
Okay. Easy enough. Print screen.
So yeah, it's a lot of cool metrics. We've got kind of some click-through rate. With our pixels, we've got a very advanced, I'm going to say the best click-through rate algorithm out there that then feeds into estimated traffic. And then PPC value takes those estimated clicks and multiplies it by the CPC from AdWords to try and give an estimate how much, what dollar amount would I have to spend in ads to get the value from this individual result. So yeah, any questions here on any of these metrics that we have, or
let's have a look.
What do you do here?
Well, Ankit is saying if you have Nozzle, try checking the single keyword performance overview. The amount of insights you get there is insane. It shows a breakdown of the actual SERP and shows all the real estate occupied and the opportunity available. It goes super deep. I'd love to see more development in the featured snippet, rich snippet optimization. It's a completely unique tool, not like your regular SEO tool. So that's pretty high praise there.
Yep, and that's what we just looked at right here. Is this is the single keyword dashboard. And then we've got these same metrics available. So no matter what dashboard you go to, again, it seems like a lot, but as you start to be familiar with it, you'll see that all of these metrics are the same across no matter what aggregation level we look at. So I'm going to zoom out real quick, and now we're going to go into competitive mode. So here we're looking at brands. These are the competitors that we've set up in the interface. I'll show you just when you go into your team management screen, this is where you can add brands and you can set up as many as you want. There's no limit there. And then inside each of these, so if we click into like the Nozzle YouTube, this is where we did an import to add all of our YouTube videos so that we can track their performance as an owned brand here. And as you set this type, that'll change some of the roll-up and aggregation things that we can look at later. So coming back here, now we're looking to see, all right, here's the total performance of all of these brands across all the metrics we just talked about. How many keywords do they rank for? What's the average rank? Pixels from top, click-through rate, etc.
Quick question for you. This looks, so much like a tool that a enterprise scale business would love. And for the people listening here, I'm sure they'd be interested, from your perspective, how would you market this or sell this on-sell this as a service to those kind of organizations? How would you position this next to the, I don't know, Hrefs, whatever it is that people use these days?
So again, this competitive screen is a huge seller. So right here, we just looked at, just these, 15 brands that we configured, but you can actually come up here into this roll up and you can switch it over to domain. And so now we're not even restricted by anything you have to configure at all. We're looking at every single domain that ranks for the 62,000 keywords we're tracking. And so now we can scroll down and see, right, there's a lot of these domains that don't even belong to brands that we're tracking. We've got 5,000 domains that we're showing in this table here, and you can paginate through and just see how they're all performing, what's changed. Again, just so much information that you can't get in other tools.
Can you drill deeper into it? Like if you went into one of these and go, okay, how are they achieving that? Or would you use this with another tool to drill deeper into those and to see what their ranking strategy is?
So you can drill into any one of these. So we'll drill into moz.com. And so now here on the left, we went from the share of voice and we drilled into the single overview. Again, you can look at a single domain, a single brand, even a single URL if you want to get that granular. So here we're looking at Moz. We can see over time all of the keywords that they rank for and then which of the ranking groups they belong to. So you can see this dark blue at the bottom is how many number one rankings they have. The second group, the three blue colors are 1, 2, and 3, and so on and so forth. So you can get a feel for the distribution of keywords for any given domain. And then that same metric's going to follow you down the page. So now we're looking at for moz.com. We've got a lot of keyword groups configured in terms of priority phrases, website phrases, rank checker, technical SEO terms. Again, you can have as many keyword groupings as you want. And so this says for moz.com, what specific keyword groups might have gained or lost over this period. And then you can see for, again, this distribution by rank group for each of these top keyword groups. Next one over here. Again, I know it feels overwhelming, but it's the same data, just sliced a little differently. So segments up here are, you can define custom segments. You can look at unpaid. You can look at paid or ads. You can look at specific rankings. You can only look at featured snippets. You can look for featured snippets with tables or bulleted lists. Again, so much information that you can filter down to. And so this is showing Moz.com across each of these segments, what does their performance look like? And so we can look at this has image is this yellow line here. And you can see that, in the last month, they had gained about 500 results with images and then lost them after holding them for 2 or 3 weeks. So this is a relatively stable report. So you're not seeing a lot of movement, but you can a lot of the time. Finally, over here, again, it's all the same keyword metric, but now we're looking to see every individual URL from Moz.com. And so you can see, do I have any individual URLs that are gaining or losing? And you're looking at 6,400 different URLs here from Moz.com that are ranking on these across this whole keyword set. Finally, is the standard keyword table here. That is what you know and love if you got rid of all the cool metrics on the right. Most tools, this is the only screen they have. Here's your keyword, search volume, the URL that's ranking, what's its rank, and what did it change over time. And we've got the rest of these pretty awesome metrics that give you differing views.
Can you talk about those a little bit, what those different views are? Sorry.
Just these different metrics. So, right, your rank might have been stable, but maybe your pixels from top changed. Or maybe, your rank stayed the same, but all of a sudden you lost all of your above the fold percentage. And so you're saying, hey, there's, an increase in ads, or, there are larger Serp features pushing my results down, and I'm losing all of my coverage.
It's like monitoring the stock market, in a nice dashboard, just for SEO.
Yep. And you can change, when you click on any of these metrics, all of the charts below will repopulate, and now we're looking at rank changes for each of these groups. So this is a little more interesting, where you see this blue phrases containing where has gained almost 6 positions on average over the last month. So someone at Moz is doing a lot with, FAQ schema, answering people also ask, some things that are driving better rankings for them on keywords containing where.
Ah, interesting. So you could watch this and you could get an idea of, okay, they're going after those, so maybe I should be paying attention to that as well.
Yep, exactly. It's being able to segment everything, in meaningful ways really helps insights jump off the page.
Do you have the snack pack local map for the keywords?
Yeah, so there's a local listing. My guess is that across our keyword set that's based on rank trackers and SEO, there's not going to be a lot of local packs that Moz pops for. So, yeah, they're not ranking for any local packs. Not super surprising. But yeah. Here in this segment, that's where you can drill down. As far as our immediate future, we plan to introduce a featured snippet dashboard, hopefully within the next few weeks, and a local dashboard, so that rather than having to
that'd be great.
Manage that yourself, it'll be a purpose-built dashboard.
This way,
we've got all this data
see it on the team section under our projects, basically, where it would show the ranking, but then have another section that shows, like, if it shows up in the map, like if it's there that might happen?
Yep.
Okay.
And you'll be able to drill in to see very specifically, all the things that are happening in local.
Great.
And then for each of these keyword group segment URLs, if you click on this, it's the same as drilling into here on the side, this by keyword group, by segment, by URL, and by keyword. This overview page just kind of puts them all together so you can compare to see, is there any correlation between points? But we've already looked at all of the, main metrics and the main dashboarding options. And then it's just about segmenting. You can cut down to just our priority phrases that we've set up in our group. And now everything on this page has reoriented to just be these 488 keywords rather than the 62,000 total that we're tracking. And each of these has an export button, so you can just hit export, and you'll see up here in the top right, this is where that export is waiting to complete, and you can just click it and download, and then you can get rid of that notification when you're done with it. So every chart, every
it turns out
has an
export. Sorry, didn't mean to. Are you able to open up one of those Excel tables? Can we have a look at what the data looks like?
Yeah.
And as boring as it may sound, I'm just kind of curious as to how you use that data.
So we've got the CSV. We'll pop that open. And it's numbers. Boo. Anyway, so here we see this is the start and end date of the period that we're looking at. The specific segment information so that you know what segment you saw. And then there's going to be a lot of metrics. I'm not a numbers user. I'm a Google Sheets or Excel guy. There are more columns than you're going to know what to do with because we've got all the different views into it. The average, the change over time. You're going to see the top ranking result if you're looking at a keyword export. And then you're going to see all of these different metrics along with their averages, their min, their max.
I see. Chris was saying that that's actually quite a nice looking export. Thanks, Chris. Sylvain was asking, can we view separating branded and non-branded keywords? I'm guessing you'd need to put your branded keywords into a group. Is that how you do it?
Yep, exactly. So you can come over to this keyword group dashboard, and then you can come in here and you can say, here's my branded terms, here's my unbranded terms, and you can compare them side by side right here. And as many of those keyword groups as you want.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions. You want to go through questions or you want to keep going with the demo?
Up to you. I'll just show one last screen. The first screen that you see is this team or again, we'll probably switch this to say that tonight we're going to switch this to say project/teams. Since all of our documentation still says teams, we're not going to go full project yet. But to try and help with what you mentioned, Joe, people understand the difference. But yeah, we'll probably switch everything to be project. So this is all those same metrics, just zoomed in. We've got a lot of different kind of tests that we run here in our Nozzle workspace. We own an isseodead.org, I think, or .com maybe, that we track some stuff for.
I know Chase was working on that for a while. So, Chase.
We actually Chase Granbury from
Reiner. He does a lot of.
Oh.
He was doing SEO is
Yeah.
dead last year. That was his whole thing. You know, SEO is SEO dead.
Yeah, it's the most ridiculous. Actually, just serpfeatures.com and to start developing that out to show all the Serp features that are available, and can also, you know, help you map between tools. You know, this is what Nozzle calls it. This is what you might see in Ahrefs or SE ranking, and really make it a resource for keeping track of everything Google shows. So yeah, this is similar to all the data we just saw. The keyword groups, your biggest winners and losers. This by default is showing your owned brands performance. You see kind of your top 5 branded competitors. You see your winner and loser keywords. So this is just a quick overview, especially if you have an agency. It's pretty awesome to just scan through this and see which clients might need attention. And then you can drill in on any of these to the specific dashboards. So yeah,
Jenny,
that's without diving, you know, any more into the boring admin stuff. You know, I'm happy to take questions, answer anything else that people are interested in.
Yeah,
Cool.
Jenny has one.
Jenny,
Jenny had one.
Jenny,
just on the screen.
Jenny was asking, what do you mean that? I think Jenny was expressing a bit of skepticism about the lack of importance of ranking number 1. I think you've already talked about that, though, Derek, in terms of you saying that.
I think that's a little bit different. It's less that ranking at the top is less important, but rank as a metric is becoming less meaningful, right? Ranking number 1 used to be very specific, yeah. But now rank number 1 could be the 4th scroll down on mobile.
Yeah.
And
with
so
all
as a
the
metric,
ads,
it's losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the ads, the map,
it's losing its value.
Pixels down helps you visualize where are you on that page. You know, that's what I like about Nozzle, which it gives you that extra thing where all the other rank tracking tools just give you numbers, and you're at 4. That looks great on paper, but then when you look at it at Nozzle and it shows you the pixels, you're all of a sudden pushed down. That 4 for that keyword is towards the bottom of a page because there's so many pixels in measurements. You know, it's very visual, thinking, you know, where am I on the page? And some people ignore the ads and some people like the ads. So that's a whole nother conversation. They click on them or they don't click on them.
I see a question on there about performing versus non-performing pages. So we'll probably add a specific dashboard for that. But for the time being, I'll just share my screen again real quick. You can, on any of these terms, let's see. Okay, we're here in Nozzle. If you want to see your performance, you can sort by any of these metrics. So if you want to see here, we're going to look at keywords that gained the most rank. And you can click it again to see the keywords that lost the most rank across, again, this period up at the top right. And you can do that with any of these metrics. So what CTR has gained the most and what has lost. So that's the easiest way to, you know, focus and drill down on, you know, what are your best and worst performing.
You know,
you can do this keyword group, keywords.
Thinking if you start, you know, I think the fact that you're able to import this data into Data Studio and BigQuery says a lot, because I feel as though a lot of your analysis is going to have to happen there because you got so much data. You need a way to join it with other data in order to pull out simple insights. Because if you're just looking at tables and tables and tables, you're not going to get a lot done, are you? You know, like you say, you got to know, how do you know that a page, what's the value of a page? You know, when somebody touches that page, how does it go up in terms of their propensity to buy, or does it go down? And then that gives you some kind of comparative value, and then you could then join that data with the data you're getting out of your tool, out of Nozzle. I'm just kind of like thinking off the top of my head here. You know, how how you slice and dice that. Surely part of that's going to have to do with how you use business intelligence tools like Data Studio and BigQuery.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot you can get out of the tool, and we've got so much data sitting there being pulled from the Serp. We've got Rouhani asking about getting actionable data. Again,
Yes.
If you segment your keyword groups well, that'll really help you understand when things gain or lose. We've got a PAA Data Studio template that you can use. There will be a PAA dashboard soon that will let you build out content calendars based on what Google is showing as the most commonly asked questions. So there's a lot of cool stuff there to get actionable things. But yeah, if you want to, the best data is when you join it with, your revenue per page, your conversion rate per page. And so by joining that into the data at the BigQuery layer, really can help you take it to another level.
I feel as though we need a separate class on just running BigQuery and Data Studio, because everyone's going to be going, what are these guys talking about?
Chris has a question.
We get a lot of questions about API consumption, and honestly, no one ever takes us up on it, because what they want to do with it is pull it out from the API and dump it into BigQuery so that they can join it into their other data sets. And so this just eliminates you don't need a data engineer. You don't need to build any data pipelines. You can just get in and, add value immediately.
Yeah. And it's not cheap to hire data engineers.
No, it's not.
From experience.
Chris has a question. How many pixels are above the fold?
So it depends on the device. I don't know offhand. It's something like 1,400 pixels. We set that a couple years ago based on the average pixel height that we got from some report. I can't remember what. Mobile, I think the pixels are about the same as, a recent iPhone version, probably from a couple years ago. A standard screen size tablet will be the same thing. Pixel average per page, about 30,000.
I guess it's probably more context would be width and height, wouldn't it be? So if we're saying 1,400 high, what's the width? Oh, and we're only really worried about the depth, aren't we? The depth is really the
only worried about the height.
Height. Sorry.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 1,600 pixels wide. If you're on Google and you drag the right side in or out, they have a max width. The second column will flex a little bit, and the width is just enough so that doesn't flex, and it's at that max width.
Yeah, I haven't seen many tools that do the pixel height, which is really like a nice added bonus. Just, I don't know. Are there a lot of other tools doing this?
There really aren't. And then nobody else that I know of is doing the actual pixel area measurements and telling you above the fold or how much total. We actually also have an is visible. When we're rendering the page in headless Chrome, we go through and we recursively scan the whole stack and check to see. We look for CSS elements like visibility, display, none, right? There's 40 different ways to make something visible or not. And so you can know, even if you're in a carousel, we'll tell you you're number 7, but you're not visible. Or even you're number 4 and only a quarter of your result is visible.
That's huge. That's right. That right there is, if you guys are, people are new to the ranking system, the visibility is what matters. I mean, like, again, the number, everyone's all about just give me the number. Where do I rank? Visibility. I love this. I could sell this to clients. They're gonna be like, oh, well, what's different about the tools you use? And I'm like, I actually have pixel height visibility. They'll be like, how do you know that? I won't tell them Nozzle. I'll say, oh, I know. I'm just doing things. I don't ignore the man behind the curtain. Don't contact Derek.
Corey's saying, for someone who is not familiar with Serps, how big is the learning curve for Nozzle?
Honestly, I'm biased. I don't think, I just want people to understand it. If you're willing to, look at it, you don't have to get into all of the depth of data that's available. You don't have to drill into every segment or keyword group. Because honestly, if you just looked at that, competitive dashboard, it's pretty straightforward. Here's all the domains that are ranking. Here's their average rank. And the metrics aren't that hard. So you can kind of start there, and then as you get more and more familiar, you can choose to expand into all the different, drill through dashboards. But if I was just going to pick one, I would say that competitive share of voice is where someone who's not super familiar is going to get the most value.
I think putting out more videos and like tutorials, stuff like that, I might even do one for fun, because you spend a few days with it, you start getting a hang of it. You have to keep in mind not to compare it to the previous tools that have been out there. And I think that people are set, in their mindset. This, even new people to SEO, they're used to, again, like Serp Watch. It's very straightforward. This is it. You scroll, you have this information in front of you. It's not overwhelming, and that's why people seem to love it. But
Right.
it does like 25% of what Nozzle's doing,
Yeah, and they charge.
Sorry.
I was going to say, the other thing is they charge you one, they call it keyword check. It's roughly equivalent to our poll, but they charge you an extra one for every competitor. So people say, like, they had a tier 10 plan, but honestly, if you wanted to track 3 competitors, then Nozzle's tier 3 plan, that's a quarter of the price, is cheaper than their tier 10 and giving you more keywords.
And that's something that I see a lot of users out there, SEOs, are saying, yeah, but I'm using Serp Watch and it gave me 75,000 credits. Nozzle's only giving me this much. And I'm trying to tell them, those credits are being eaten up so quickly that what Nozzle's giving you, the unlimited, and you use one keyword, you could track it across the board. You're not getting charged for it. I mean, that's it's not always about the numbers. Everyone sees an AppSumo deal. They see those numbers. They first look for what's unlimited, and then they see, oh, what are my limits? And I'm guilty of that as well, and on many tools. And even with Nozzle, first time I saw it that morning, I said, oh, limits look kind of low. I don't know. I already have so many tools. And then, an hour later, like, all right, let me try it out. And right away, it went from tier 1 to tier 3. I was like, this is really great. This is not just a rank tracker. This is a complete data mining tool. It's just, and I can see you're scaling it. So it's good things to come.
I need to ask you a question, Joe. Like, you're not the founder. You're somebody who didn't have any expectations, and you were pleasantly surprised. So from your perspective, how are you planning on using this, and how are you planning on using the data? How does this enable you to grow your own business or your clients' businesses?
Right now, I'm using it. It replaced my other rank tracking tool for my personal projects. I'm still using at the agency analytics, which Derek's familiar with. And I am looking to eventually talk to the team and put Nozzle in place over there, because I feel like the competitive listing part and the organization of the keywords is better than what agency analytics is doing, where agency analytics is also a keyword tool, data mining tool. It's more for client end to show them where everything's ranking, and it's a nice dashboard. It's a beautiful platform, and it has a high, a lot of keyword checks per month. With this tool, it's more for the team in-house to get much more data. And I think the brand, monitoring across what the competitors are doing, whether they're neutral, whether they're friendlies, or they're, the competitors you really want to go after. In Nozzle, you can actually categorize your competitors, which is another great feature. It just gives you everything you need in front of you.
How do you rank your competitors? How do you do that? So you can go and tag them?
You could go and use, the keywords. You could kind of do that list, that competitor list, and you could set up the brands, the competitors into Nozzle, and then they're added to your list, and then you could match your keywords with what the real estate agent down the road is doing for, against my client real estate agent, or all of them, and where they're lining up with them. Like, it just when you have your like power meetings every day, okay, what do we got? We got client A, client B, client C. Where are we at? You can go right into Nozzle, open up the dashboard, and dig through it. It's good for a team. Everybody say, okay, hey, look at that. Look at the graph, the visualization of, where one is going up and the other one's going down. Okay, we had increases today. We had gains. We had losses, again, like the stock market. So this would be great for like reading your morning paper, for SEO. Just get it going. I'm still, studying it, looking into it, but I feel for organizing keywords, looking at the competition, and getting those high limits, which is basically fantastic. I think it's gonna become my primary data mining tool.
And also, Derek, can you also search by competitor and then uncover the different keywords that they're using? Does your tool do that, or
so we don't have the reverse index yet. So everything is keyword based on what you input. Like I said, we'll be adding a keyword index within the next 12 months, and Appsumo users will have access to it.
Yeah,
that will make some of that easier. But for today, it's keyword based.
Okay. It wouldn't be that hard to find those anyway, if you were curious enough. That's awesome. Chris has got another one here. I love the SEO possibilities. How deep can we go into paid ad tracking?
So you've got as much detail on ads as you do with any other result. You'll be able to see what ads are there, what ad extensions are running. Sometimes it can be a little trickier because ads are so much more volatile that you're not going to get necessarily all the coverage. We have had some customers pull hourly to try and get a better representation of what ads are running.
They're day parting, so they know their bidding strategy throughout the day.
Yep. And you can set up custom schedules, including, if you wanted to say, pull hourly, but only during my business hours. If you can express a schedule in Google Calendar, you can express it here.
Mm-hmm.
We've also had customers that for like Black Friday or a big sales event, they might say, I'm going to track hourly for the week of Black Friday. And you can set that up beforehand, and you might be tracking those daily for the rest of the year. Or if it's a Halloween costume store, right? Track a ton in September and October and shutter off the rest of the year.
Fantastic. John Train, this is an older question, but John Train was saying that news feature tapering sounds pretty genius. I'm not sure what he's meaning there. I must have missed it.
That WordPress integration where you slowly taper off the frequency of polls after you publish an article.
Gotcha. Yep.
Give me 1 second. My computer's about to die. I'm going to plug it right in.
Cool. All right, guys, give us your last questions. I think we're getting nearer to the end. Unless you got any other questions there, Joe?
There was quite a few questions. I don't know if we got them all because I know Neelish usually handles the questions. So I don't.
I've been tracking them pretty closely. But I think we got most of them.
We had some in the beginning, but I don't know if we missed anything.
Yeah, no, I've been following them from the beginning and editing them.
Okay.
I'll just repeat the answer to that question. Yeah, the only difference between basic and advanced is the cost for overage polls. Mm-hmm. There are no feature limits, no matter how high up our tiers you go. Even in our enterprise tiers, where we have customers paying 5 and 6 digits a month. They're still getting the same features. They're just getting a whole lot more.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it reminds me of, you know, kind of like API first application development, where you're kind of paying for access to the API.
Yeah. And everything is available via API. But again, BigQuery tends to be that's what people actually want. Give me my data in a warehouse where I can query it.
Yep. Ankit is asking for a complete walkthrough of the video platform. Is that something that he can find on your site? Is there a knowledge base or a set of videos that he can go to?
So at help.nozzle.io, we've got a lot of docs and videos there. We've got
YouTube?
we do have some stuff on YouTube. Nozzle or Nozzle.io is our username there. And we've got more that we're currently working on. There's one that we're just producing now. Got a couple other videos in the works.
Perfect. All right, guys, if you got any last questions, let's get them in there, and then I think we're close to wrapping up.
Maybe I'll just show real quick how to sign up and get started, if that's
Perfect.
all right.
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe we'll talk about the deal terms as well.
Sure, yeah. So here, this is just our homepage. Know everything Google knows, right? That's what our goal is. But you can come here and start the trial. And this is now changed. You can sign in. I'll log out. You can sign with Google, Facebook, or email. We don't have a password. This is the magic link, passwordless email, so that your passwords are safe and you're not reusing it around the web. Any of those will work. I'll go ahead and log in here. And if you do have other workspaces, you can see I belong to a lot. You can jump right into one of those. Give us, obviously, your name. And then you just, again, if you did this a few days ago, a lot of these steps weren't here. But, cool company.
It's benefit of using React.
And this is, now you can create your first team or your project. If you're an agency, you still probably want one, for yourself, even though from experience, SEO agencies tend to neglect themselves. And create that. Then you can just add your keywords right here. If you want, you can also include some keyword groups that are semicolon delimited, like if you're pasting in from Excel or something. So, rank tracking, enterprise, rank tracking. And then with the semicolon, everything after this, enterprise is now going to be a keyword group. Rank will be a group. I can come up here and do the same. Your devices, we default to desktop in the US on a daily schedule. And so that'll get your keywords set up, and thanks demo gods for that. And let's see if that triggers it. There we go. And then this is where you can create your brand. You can just go ahead and look up your domain, nozzle.io. We'll do a search on that, pull in any, social properties that you can find. You can decide to track some or all of these and add those to now be a part of your brand. We'll be adding a Google My Business text field here. Create your brand, and now you're done. So you'll click into here, and your keywords typically will populate. Sometimes it can take up to 30 minutes, but usually you'll see them within 5 to 10 minutes. And that's it. You don't have to dive into the actual keyword manager and all of this like you did before. So hopefully it's a lot easier to get onboarded than...
Will you be adding the login feature instead of doing the email link? I was just curious.
You're saying email and password? Yeah, that's on the list of things as people ask. It just hasn't been. Honestly, the sign in with email is new. Nobody's really cared about signing in with anything other than Google for 7 years. So
Yeah, you're right.
Derek, Ruhani is asking a question. I'm unable to find the plans for the AppSumo in the admin part as in the context of how many teams limits. Not sure what that means.
So there are no limits to teams. There's no limits to brands. There's no limit to domains, no limit to competitors. The only thing that the plan revolves around is the number of keyword polls.
Nice.
It's a good deal.
Venkatish, very insightful session. The day you decide that you are not going to buy any more LTDs, something else pops up. Something awesome pops up.
Hey, Venky. It's a good guy.
Sorry to break your LTD soberness.
Yeah.
The FOMO is kicking in.
Can we? I can either share my screen or you can share your screen. Maybe if you share your screen, Derek, can we just talk through the deal real quick? What people are getting on the
sure.
AppSumo?
Okay. We'll jump over to. So here's the deal here. We'll jump.
Wait for Neelish to put
down
that up.
The plans.
Neelish has to put it up. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Here are the 3 tiers. Again, it's pretty straightforward since you have access to all the features. There's no comparisons other than you get 5,000 keyword polls a month, 10,000 or 21,000. And those roughly match. We don't have a plan below basic, but here's the 10,000 and 21,000. And so that's why the kind of the odd 21K. We actually started with 20,000. And some of our first purchasers said, hey, can you just make it advanced to make us feel like we're one of your real plans? And so we went ahead and made that change the first day. But yeah, the only difference is this overage pricing per poll that gets lower as you increase. And if you are curious about how many polls you need on this pricing page, we've got this calculator. You can click in some kind of pre-built options, but you can get a feel for how many polls you might need.
That's what I was going to ask. That's nice, that calculator, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, a small agency, I'm a freelancer. Which tier should I purchase? Right. I mean, I went all 3, but one could get by, 2.
Right. So here's my 50 daily keywords for that client. Maybe I do another 200 once a month, so on and so forth. So makes it easy to get a feel for how many you want. That's also with 2 devices. Drop that down and cut your polls in half. So you can really make a lot of keywords go a long way by being smart with your scheduling.
Yeah.
So if you're a startup, you could probably get by with one license, and if you're an agency, no doubt you want to stack several. I'm guessing.
Yep, and this top tier really is a good deal because it's only another $60, but you're more than doubling the polls. So as far as your price per poll here, that tier 3 really is a good value. Yeah,
it's definitely a good investment. I mean, a lot of these tools are spending $99 a month minimum, and if this scales continues, it's good to invest in it.
Yeah. Can you go beyond 3 tiers if you want to?
Nope. That's what we were talking about before right. This is where we can, I'm confident that we're never going to cut your features or your plans or shut them off. If we start getting higher, that really, I don't want to commit to something that we might pull in the future. So
yeah, when I'm already emailing him for tier 10. I'm like, hey, Derek, come on, tier 10. You're a BYU guy. Zach Wilson on the Jets. Do you follow
cook you some pizzas, cook you some Italian food. Awesome. Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Is there any other questions, guys? I think Corey, I think we've answered your question there. I'm a freelancer trying to see what I need. I think you just used the calculator there to figure that out, but I think we're pretty close to wrapping up. Any last words, Derek? Anything that you want to say before we end this?
We're just excited to be here. Glad to participate here with you tonight. Really, like I said, this Appsumo launch, unlike a lot of other tools, we've been around 7 years. We have a sustainable business, and this is really about spreading the word, getting the tool into the hands of individual freelancers, into smaller agencies or businesses, and we're here to help. For any of you that have actually contacted us, like on our chat, we are very responsive. We're hoping to get there within seconds of your chat, even with the slot. So we are very customer focused. We're gonna do everything we can to make it easy to use, and we're committed to. Right, we feel that this is a partnership in a lot of ways with the LTD community. We're getting a lot of great feedback, a lot of good roadmap suggestions, and we want to bring you along for the ride. Right, it's not just. I feel like too many companies treat lifetime deal groups as kind of these leeches that are a drain on resources. But I prefer, again, I'm a LTD user, and I'd like to see it more of a partnership. And this is our first foray into self-service, and the goal is to take on Ahrefs and SEMrush and have a tool that gives more data than they can shake a stick at. So
Corey's asking a question. I'm just going to ask something real quick here. We normally do a giveaway. I don't know if Neelish has discussed that with you, but we normally give away a couple of licenses. This is totally up to you. I'm not going to put any pressure on you. Kind of cheeky. Corey's been hassling us in the comments here, so I thought I'd better ask the question. Once again, you don't have to answer. I'll leave that up to you.
Sure, we can do a giveaway.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
What kind of parameters do you want to put around that? What do you think?
I don't know. Guys? How do these normally run?
I don't know. We just kind of come up with some random thing.
Neelish does. He has like a wheel. He spins a wheel, or we could do a question. Whoever gets the answer first in the comments, whatever you want to do.
All right. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, go.
All right. Who can name a BYU player in the NFL who's not Zach Wilson?
Oh man.
Crickets.
Come on, guys. Is anyone going to use Google or what? Come on.
Guys. Yeah, duh.
I didn't even know who that guy is, and I'm going to jump on Google and answer this.
LeBron James. That's what someone wrote.
Well, while we're waiting for someone to get their Google up. What?
Jaron Hall. There we go.
All right.
Is that right?
He's the BYU starting quarterback this year.
Okay, so who's in the NFL? That's not Zach Wilson.
Brady Christensen is Corey.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay, we've got a winner.
Boom. Corey knows his football. Corey's in Atlanta. I think he's a Falcons fan.
Corey.
Other acceptable answers would have been, Fred Warner on the 49ers, Jamal Williams on the Lions now. Got a decent number in there now.
I'm a long-suffering Jets fan, so when I saw you were from BYU, I was like, oh, you got to know Zach Wilson. So hopefully things will change.
Well, I won't tell you my feelings when he went to the Jets. I know how you guys treat those young quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's horrible. What happened to Sam Darnold? Yeah, it's.
But I'm hopeful that Zach Wilson will help you turn it around.
I hope they don't mess up that team. And that's football. If Jason's still watching, he said before when I said soccer's real football. Confusing. American.
Is Felipe saying Dex Milne? Is that a player?
It is wide receiver.
Nice. All right. So how do
One question I have, a quick question. Sorry, is
Yep.
where'd you come up with the name Nozzle?
So when we first started, we knew we were going to be data heavy, and we just kind of said we want to pull all of this information in and make it available in one spot. We thought we were also going to be including potentially some like social media feeds in like a Hootsuite style. So that was part of the naming, but
yeah,
that all came together. I also wanted to mention we are offering, I know now that it is somewhat frowned upon, but we are offering 1,000 bonus pulls a month if you leave a review on AppSumo. So if you do make that purchase, go ahead and leave a review, and it can be an honest one. Hopefully we've earned your 5 tacos.
I didn't get that email. Did you just send that email out?
It's on the deal page. I think it's on the first email you get when you get invited, but now you know.
I might leave a positive review. I can't promise, but I think I could do that.
Well, thanks.
Anyway, congratulations, Corey, for winning that. For coming up with the answer.
Yeah, look at that.
Alrighty.
Corey asked for it and he won it.
Ask Corey, you cheeky. Alrighty, well, it's been a pleasure having you with us, Derek. I mean, that was really informative and looks like an awesome tool, especially for people that are doing, proper search engine optimization. Thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Joe, thank you for your time as well. And thanks for everybody here, our regular people who've come and joined us on these calls. Any last words that you guys want to say before we wrap up?
Hope to see you all on the tool.
Sweet.
Yep. I'll see you in the chat.
Yep.
All righty.
I'll be there.
Let's hit the music. See you guys.